Hello and welcome to the Film Pulse Podcast. This is episode number 185. My name is Adam Patterson, back from a much enjoyed vacation, even though the weather was kind of shitty. Still enjoyed it.
Did you get it? Or did
We
you get out of there?
we got out in time, but it was still kind of overcast and a little rainy for most of the week. There was one good beach day, and then maybe we probably could have got another one out there, but like it was kind of crappy in the morning, and then it got better later, but we had already left and went out to do things. So, but I mean, it was still nice. It was still a nice vacation with the family. So, joined today by Kevin Rakestraw. How you doing, Kevin?
I'm doing alright.
Good. That's good to hear.
Yeah.
This week on the docket, we'll be reviewing Sicario and Partisan.
Yeah.
Two one-word titles this week. We'll also be going over some we've been watching, this week's movie predictions, new on video on demand, DVD and Blu-ray releases, all the usual stuff. We're back live this week since I'm back home in New York. So if you're tuning into the live show, welcome. I will try to keep an eye on the chat and in the comments, so feel free to join in on the conversation. Actually, let me make sure everything's looking good with that. Yeah. It's looking good. It looks like we're in there.
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and jump into our first review. Let's talk about Partisan first. We'll save Sicario for last. This is directed by, and again, I'm gonna preemptively apologize for any butchering of names that happens this week, because I think it's gonna happen several times on my part. So,
Should we just develop a disclaimer for the beginning of the show for that?
yeah.
Because you can pretty much say that for every single show that we do.
Yeah, I think so. Well, this is directed by Ariel Kleiman. We'll say Kleiman.
Yeah.
This stars Vincent Cassel, Jeremy Chabriel, and Florence Mazzara. I have a synopsis here. Once I pull it up, Alexander, a boy who has been raised in a sequestered commune, finds that his increasing unwillingness to fall in line puts him on a collision course with Gregory, the society's charismatic and domineering leader. This is out now in limited release and on video on demand. Now, Kevin, you actually wrote a review for this one, so I'm going to start it off. I'm going to start this one off.
Kick it.
I actually watched this in the car on my trip, so not the most ideal viewing format. However, I think I got a good grasp of what's going on here in this movie. I gotta say, I really enjoyed this at the beginning. For probably 2/3 of the movie, I was fully in it. I was really, really into this movie. I thought it looked amazing. I was deeply enthralled by the story that was going on here with this commune. I was kind of struggling to figure out where the hell this was supposed to take place, because it's technically an Australian film, but everybody had really strange accents. They all spoke English,
Yeah.
but they all had really weird accents, so I was never really sure where this movie is. I don't know if we're supposed to know. Are we supposed to know where it takes place?
No, I don't think so. Because I think part of it was shot in Georgia, the country, and then another. I forget there's another place that was shot too. Then you have a completely international cast. Because you're right, there's so many different.
Yeah, a lot of weird ethnicities and things going on in this movie, but so into it at first. However, as the film progressed, it started losing me a little bit, and I felt like the end was a little bit underwhelming. Now, I will say that, and I'm not going to give it away, but I thought that the final shot was really good, and I really liked where they ended it. But overall, I don't know. There wasn't enough here to keep me fully invested the entire time.
I would agree 100%.
Nice. Because I didn't read your review. I saw your score, but I didn't read your review.
Yeah, I mean, it looks great. It looks great for a feature-length debut. The amount of thought that goes into this world that they build is impressive, especially considering the amount of creativity to set up just the karaoke itself.
Yeah.
They made videos for the karaoke songs.
Yeah.
It almost seems like they put more thought into the karaoke than they did like the actual film.
I was wondering about that because the karaoke songs when they show the videos, I was thinking to myself, are those actual like karaoke videos?
Yeah, if you go to YouTube, you can. They have 3 videos. The first song, I forget the name, but it's Robin and someone else do that song, and then the second song, the Saving My Love for Saturday Night or whatever it was, that's Jarvis Cocker and someone else.
Mm-hmm.
And they actually have videos for it and everything, and they're silly.
Yeah, I knew that the videos weren't like the actual artists' music videos, but I thought that maybe they used some kind of weird old karaoke setup that had those like pre-programmed in or something.
It might have. It might be. I don't know. But I mean, there's so much going on here that a lot of it isn't explained or expounded upon, which at first is okay because there's this ambiguity to everything, and you're not quite sure what's going on. But then once you get towards the end of the film, and you're running out of time for questions to get answered, the problem is that they don't really bring up any questions to begin with. The only answers that you're looking for are plot point specifics. Why are these kids assassinating people? Like, why is that part of and why is that a genre now? Can we stop with those movies?
Child assassin.
Yeah,
assassins.
like how many more of these are we going to have?
Well, I thought that it was a cool premise to have a commune of child assassins. I kind of liked that. However,
yeah, but how interesting is that novelty for like the first like run through, and then that's it, because they don't really go anywhere with it.
Well, that's the thing. In this setting, I think that it is interesting. However, they just don't develop it enough. Like the whole assassin portion, I thought was not developed very much at all. We don't know who these people are. We don't know why. Why does he need so many kids to become assassins? Are there that many people in this little town that need assassinating? I mean, holy crap. He's got an army of assassin children. How does he pick the kids? I mean, we can assume that this is all that seems to be all kids that are from single mothers, but how does he just troll hospitals and
well, that's what it looks like in the beginning when he gets Alexander, because that's really the only thing you see. He just pops into a hospital and he's like, "Hey, what's up?"
Yeah, and I mean, furthermore, why do the hospitals allow this weird guy to be kind of stalking around the maternity ward?
Yeah, you would think after, because his harem has like 7 ladies in it.
At least 6.
You would think like at some point they'd be like, this guy keeps showing up
and disappearing
away
with women and their children, and then they never return again. I mean, it was kind of I liked the location of the commune itself. It was kind of tucked away and hidden through this cave system, and it was kind of this oasis almost within this kind of crumbling city from the looks of it.
Yeah.
And I liked that. It had kind of almost like a Lost Boys vibe to it.
It's just it's a good idea with good production design, and then they just stopped there. They were just like, we got it, done.
And another thing that I wasn't a huge fan of, and here we go. This was coming. Not a big fan of the kid, Jeremy Jabril. He had just these dead eyes that creeped me out the whole time. He was so emotionless through almost the entire movie until his brother.
He's soaking it in, man. He's just soaking it in. That's the way at least I saw it. I thought they were able to get a good amount of tension from the way that he kind of plays off of Vincent Cassel's character.
Well, yeah.
And I don't know if it's like Vincent Cassel's line delivery or if it's just his accent makes everything sound threatening. Like every single thing that he said sounded like a threat.
That was actually going to be my next point, because you were talking about the tension in this movie, and I think that the tension is it's a pretty tense movie, and I think that that's largely due to Vincent Cassel. But when you watch the movie, he almost never does anything that is abusive or evil to his family. All the people involved, the kids or the women that he has there. And even though he doesn't do anything at all, he seems like actually a pretty good dad, even though he's, obviously what he's doing is terrible.
Yeah.
Well, I'm talking about just how he treats everyone. He seems like a very loving father figure to these people. And even though there was that, you always had this like nagging feeling that at any moment he's just going to murder everyone,
Yeah. I think that's just how cults work now.
Yeah, maybe it's just
like you just always think like the cult leader is going to kill everyone at some point in time.
Maybe it's just
because just history's kind of shown that to you over and over again.
Maybe it's just because we were from the outside looking in, and we just had a feeling that that's the way it was going to go, just out of kind of instinct.
Because has there ever been like cults that just kind of ended like through like self-realization, like, hey, you guys know what? This isn't working. Let's just pack it up.
I don't know.
Everyone can go home.
Maybe that's what'll happen with that guy from American Pie that started the cult. Was it American Pie?
Oh no, 10 Things I Hate About You.
10 Things I Hate About You.
I wonder what his cult's doing right now. I wonder if it's still in existence.
I don't know. Maybe they're having a good time. Maybe that cult is the exception.
Yeah. Well, okay, back to Vincent Cassell. Yeah, you're right. And like you said, there's so much tension there because you do believe that at any moment something terrible is going to happen. And we get kind of like a glimpse of it when that other kid shows up.
Yeah.
That
Lucas,
has some knowledge and kind of...
Lucas or something?
Yeah, and kind of questions him on a number of things. And then Vincent Cassell's like really into people eating chicken.
Mm.
He wants you to eat chicken.
Yeah.
So you can see that. There's a lot of force feeding of chicken lately too, between Killer Joe, Nothing Bad Can Happen, and Partisan.
I immediately thought of Nothing Bad Can Happen during that scene.
So that's the thing too. We got that as a genre.
The chicken force feed.
Got chicken force feed and child assassins.
Yeah.
But again, you get to the end here, and it's like, oh, okay, well, I know I use this as a criticism a lot, but what's the point? What was the point of this? Were you trying to say anything? Because it doesn't feel like it. And if you weren't, it was fairly entertaining.
Yeah, they're
mildly.
There wasn't a lot that happened regarding the actual assassinations either. We see it happen a few times, but it doesn't really go into detail about who they are, how they carry out these assassinations. It seems like they do the same thing every time.
Yeah.
But I was thinking that they were going to have the kid kind of be exploring more or, starting to discover more of the outside world. And that was going to make him...
yeah, because there's really only one scene of that.
Right.
What, two? Maybe two.
Two if you...
chocolate bar, and then he meets that other kid.
Yeah, he meets that other kid for like a second.
Which, Jesus Christ, kids playing with handguns just terrifies me.
Yeah.
Jeez, that was the most...
That was unnerving.
That scene was tense as can be.
Yeah.
You want to talk about like making the most tense like horror movie ever? It would just be like a room full of kids, six kids, and they find a gun that's loaded, and it's just that for like 98 minutes. Okay?
And they're passing it back and forth, looking down the barrel.
It's just one day. It's like a kindergarten class comes across a gun in their classroom, and then for the rest of the day, it's just them playing with it. That I would have a heart attack with that movie.
Yeah, I think so.
By the way, I mean, don't make that because I think that would kill me. Actually, don't do it.
It would literally kill me.
I would die. I mean, it's Partisan for me is slightly successful again as a debut in the sense that I'd like to see more from the director. I'd like to see more, but it's just I wasn't that enamored with this.
Yeah, I agree. I
mean, it's not the best child assassin movie, and it's not the best chicken force feed movie out there. You can do better.
It's not the best cult movie either, I would say.
Yeah, it's not there you go.
Even though I don't even know they never really get into kind of the ideology of what
Yeah, I don't
Vincent
think
Cassel's
it's
doing either. Like
yeah.
if it is even a cult, if you could call it a cult, or if it's more of a commune, I don't
Yeah,
even know.
I would say more of a commune.
I don't, yeah. There were so many questions I had about the logistics of how this commune works. You know, how they get food and water and electricity and plumbing, and does that one guy that they call their uncle, does he only come there once a month, or does he come there every week? Because it seems like it's kind of a rare thing, so he probably only comes there like once a month. How do people not know about this?
Yeah,
You know, I mean, I get that it's kind of hidden away and in the middle of nowhere, but if they have electricity, you know, they're using some sort of generator. You could just dig deep. You could dig deep
well,
into
yeah.
this.
Well, plus you give it like hey, what's up with the? You guys ever spot like the kids with the blue
Yeah,
backpacks?
exactly. They all have
Just
the
like,
same backpack. I thought about that too.
where the fuck they come from?
Well, it's
And you
weird.
ever notice every time that we see them, someone dies, someone gets shot? Isn't that weird? I think someone would piece that together.
Again, I'll just go back to the amount of murdering that happens in this town, because it does not seem like a big town. Now, these kids, it seems like they can't go very far. The one scene, he actually walked to the place, and the other one, he rode a dirt bike. So, presumably, they're staying within the city limits, and they're murdering people left and right, apparently.
Yeah, every day. Their agenda is jam packed with assassinations from morning to night. It seems like, and then they relax with karaoke.
I don't know. There's just, and I also feel like the kid would have, because he seems like he knows what's going on, and I feel like he would feel more conflicted about just murdering innocent people who he doesn't even know.
Yeah, I know.
I feel like even if you're raised in that environment, training to be a killer, you would still, at a certain point, you would suddenly realize what I'm doing here is not, it's wrong. And I didn't get the sense that he felt that it was wrong. I just got the sense that he was tired of Vincent Cassell,
Mhm.
you know, his domineering nature.
Yeah, he's just getting tired of it. Wanted to be his own man.
Yeah. But again, I'll say that I did like that final shot with the baby.
Yeah,
I thought that was a really interesting way to end it.
it's a good way to end it. Plus, it ended it, which was nice.
Yeah, yeah. All right. That's all I have to say about Partisan. Do you have any other final
No,
thoughts?
I ain't got nothing.
Light recommend for me, I would say. Looks good. It's an interesting story, but just don't be, I don't know. Maybe I was just, because I did see the trailer, maybe I was just expecting more substance to it. And I think that that's just what it is. I expected it to be more substantial in the dynamics of the group and how they carry out these assassinations and all of that.
Yeah, it just feels the assassination thing just feels incredibly forced. Just to be like, hey, isn't this interesting? They're kids killing people.
Well, in the grand scheme of things, it actually has very little to do with the movie at all.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean.
I mean,
That's,
they could have taken out all the assassination stuff and just left it as this weird commune where Vincent Cassell is kind of taking in battered women and raising that, you know, being a sort of like a polygamist almost.
yeah, exactly.
I don't know. Anyway, so it looks like you gave this a 6.5 out of 10. I'm gonna go ahead and throw out a, I'll give it a 6.5 too. Nah, see, then I feel like I'm copying off of you.
Go for it.
I'm still gonna give it a 6.5 because that was gonna be my original score anyway. So that's that's Partisan. It's playing. I keep wanting to say The Partisan for some reason.
Just do it.
That's The Partisan. Playing now in limited release and on video on demand. Let's move on and talk about some Sicario. This is directed by another name that I will assuredly butcher. I know it's Denis, I think, Villeneuve.
Oh my god, that sounded so good.
I don't know. Kind of maybe close, hopefully. This stars Emily Blunt, Josh Brolin, Benicio del Toro. I have a synopsis here. An idealistic FBI agent is enlisted by an elected government task force to aid in the escalating war against drugs at the border area between the U.S. and Mexico. Kevin, we'll start it with you. What did you think of Sicario?
Because Sicario was pretty good. I enjoyed it for what it was. Again, it's not something that I think is anything special, really, unfortunately. But I'd say it's pretty solid for what it is.
Yeah.
A lot of good stuff in there. I don't know. It's just, to me, it just felt a bit standard.
Well, see, that's an interesting point, because I think that on the surface it does seem pretty standard, but the more I thought about it after seeing it, the more it kind of felt more complex to me. Like, the more I thought about it, and I think that that's what this director likes to do. I mean, this is the guy that did Prisoners and Enemy, and to me, it wasn't, when I first came out of the theater, to me it was like, oh, that was a really good, above average, like, military crime thriller. But then kind of the more I thought about it, it sunk in, and I think I appreciated it more after sitting with it for a while, because it does some interesting things. First, the film appears to focus on Emily Blunt's character. So she's this FBI, right? Yeah, she's an FBI agent who she volunteers for this kind of mysterious task force. And she doesn't even know who's running the damn thing. She kind of just knows that it's a government agency. I think that they said that they were the DOD at first. It was like some sort of Department of Defense task force or whatever. And as it goes on, she realizes that it's not exactly what they said it was, and they're doing things that she's not 100% okay with. And at one point, and this is not a big spoiler or anything, I don't think, at one point the perspective changes. It's near the very end, and we switch perspectives to Benicio del Toro. And then I started to think, maybe it's Benicio del Toro who's essentially the main character this whole time.
Slightly.
And it's really his story that they're telling.
Yeah, kind of. Which, I mean, I know that. I see it. But that's not that impressive to me. I mean, I thought it was kind of interesting, but at the same time, when you do shift to Del Toro's point of view, the movie to me just became this like fantasy world where it's like one guy takes down the entire cartel.
It turns into the action ramps up, and it turns into almost a revenge thriller.
And it's just like he is unstoppable.
Yeah. So the film's 2 hours long. To me, it felt like 3 hours long. It was.
Yeah, it felt like a long one.
At one point, I was just thinking to myself, are they gonna do something in this movie? I mean, something has to happen here. And then this scene that completely turned it around for me, and the rest of the movie from that point on, the night vision scene, from that point on, I was like, yes, awesome.
Yeah, I did enjoy it. I thoroughly enjoyed that scene, but at the same time hated elements of it. It's number one, I like when they're just like coming down the hill, and you have like the purple sky in the background. They're all in silhouettes, and he's coming down. He pulls out the knife, and the knife gets closer and closer. And I like that. I loved all of it. The night vision and the thermal vision, I could have done without that. The switching back and forth between those, I just
see, for me,
I was not a fan of that.
For me, that ramped up the suspense. Like, I was on the edge of my seat because they had that music playing. The score was really prominent in this movie too. Like, kind of boom, 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 and it's just like, you're just like, oh my god, and the way the quickness in which they cut from camera to camera. So they had like the night vision, then they had the thermal, and then they had the drone or satellite view, whatever it was, and it just kept going back and forth through those three shots, and the tension just went through the roof for me on that.
Yeah, I did. The scene that I liked more so than that one was the prisoner exchange.
Yeah, that,
because I thoroughly enjoyed the way in which he would draw so much tension out of essentially nothing.
Yeah,
just the idea that something could happen. They just throw it out there that, hey, we're going to do this mission. Something might happen, and they even tell you like,
if it happens, like, this is where.
Yeah, it's like 3 or 4 people even pointed out that, okay, if anything's going to happen, it's going to happen right at the end.
Yeah.
So the whole time, and they just play it out. They play it out in real time, just about, and it's just cars driving through the streets.
But
That's it.
Yeah, but the way
I mean,
that they shoot it,
oh my goodness,
how like they switch formations, and then a bunch of cars go ahead, and then they spot that one guy that's like a street over, and they think that he's a spotter, and then they got to look at the roofs and see if there's anybody up on the roof taking, looking at them.
and they have to stop for a little bit, and you hear the guns going off. And I mean, there's some terrible dialogue in there, because that's when the guys are like, "Those aren't firecrackers." It's like, shut your face. What a terrible line of dialogue. Shut up.
The dialogue didn't bother me. So Josh Brolin plays sort of the comic relief. He's sort of the classic spook in this movie, where he's got the flip-flops on, and he's just this laid-back dude.
Just doing his thing, man.
And I liked his character. I thought that his character did add some much-needed comic relief to just cut that tension a little bit.
Yeah, I like this version of Josh Brolin.
Yeah.
I thoroughly enjoy him.
Yeah.
Between this and Inherent Vice, I've been enjoying Josh Brolin.
Same here. And of course, Benicio del Toro is this kind of suave, charismatic, stoic, mysterious guy who we don't murder machine. I guess we could call him a murder machine. Who we don't really know much about him until towards the end of the film. And I liked his character a lot too. I thought that he was a badass. I mean, especially at the end. How can you not think that he's a complete badass?
That was terrifying.
One interesting choice that was made is there were these periodic cutaways to this family in Mexico, and for me that those scenes didn't really work.
No, this didn't work at all.
They didn't. Yeah,
he's trying to play it up as like you're not exactly sure where this guy stands.
Right.
So he's a Mexican police officer. You don't know if he's fighting against the cartel or if he's in the pocket of the cartel. And then, and it seems like he's trying to build up some sympathy by showing him that he's a family man, he's a husband, he's a father, and then, oh goodness. And then you find out like what this guy's been doing when he's not at home. And it didn't work for me at all.
Right. It didn't work for me either.
Amateurish.
Because the scenes, when they switched to him, the scenes seemed too long, first of all. To me, they cut the momentum, they cut the pace of the movie. And when the big reveal finally happened, I wasn't invested in this character enough to care, to have any kind of emotion about this.
Yeah, and also, I mean, knowing the way that he works and what these characters are going to end up doing, you kind of know right from the outset, what side he's going to fall on. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah.
He's trying to be coy and keep it kind of secret, and I'll reveal it later. And it's like, we already fucking know. We already fucking know what Benicio del Toro is going to do. As soon as I saw him, it's like, oh, okay, yeah. You named your movie Sicario.
Exactly. Yeah.
I get it. So try to be fucking clever.
You gave it away in the title, guys.
Yeah, and then you got to give me a prologue like Sicario means hitman. It's like, oh shit. Guess what? Someone's going to be a fucking hitman.
Yeah. And when they don't, that's not part of the plot line right off the bat, through process of elimination.
And that's what kind of bothered me with Emily Blunt's character, which I think Emily Blunt does a great job. Don't get me wrong. I think she's fantastic in this movie. But I think he just wrote that character, Tyler Sheridan, that wrote the screenplay. Her character is way too naive. Well, like, to the point where I'm like, how the fuck are you an FBI agent?
Her character is designed to be the audience, really. Essentially, right? I mean, because it's just like any of these other movies where it's the first day on the job, and basically she's learning how things are done as we're learning it. So it's almost as if her character is used as a plot device.
Yeah, which is I can understand that. But to introduce her as such a smart, intelligent, badass person,
right?
And they have the whole meeting where they're talking about her, and we have to have her on the team. And then to see what she becomes like literally like 5 minutes later when she's now working with them. And it's like, what the hell happened?
Yeah, I
Like I
also,
can understand being like kind of in the dark and everything, but she just turns into this. She's just so unbelievably naive, and
yeah,
she can't see anything. And it's like, oh my goodness.
and also, maybe this is just me being cynical and jaded or whatever, but to me, it seemed like a lot of the stuff that this task force was doing wasn't that bad. It's not like that they were doing things that were truly evil, you know?
No,
Like,
it's
and and,
shit
and every
America's been doing for centuries.
and every single thing that they did, Emily Blunt's like, no, 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 no. What are you getting me into? This is wrong. This is wrong. And it's like, what are they doing that's so bad? Other than the interrogation scene,
She
they
probably didn't really know about.
which she wasn't even there for. It's like, what are they doing that's so awful? They're not killing. Well,
They're killing people,
well,
but
it is. They're killing people, but like she had a real problem with what went down at the. And I'm trying to skirt around everything because I don't want to give anything away. But she had a real problem with what happened with that prisoner transport that you mentioned earlier. And to me, everything that happened there seemed very procedural, by the book, and justified.
yeah, I mean, no, you don't want to have that happen when there's civilians around.
But
But what are you gonna
what are
do?
you gonna
That's what you
do?
have to do.
They were defending
You,
themselves.
you have two sides here, and one side has a lot better aim than the other side. So I would trust them kind of going first
Yeah.
if we have civilians around.
And it seemed like they tried to diffuse the situation before it escalated to the point where shots were fired. It's not like they just blindly opened fire into a crowd or anything. You know what I mean? Like it seemed like they went by the book on it, but Emily Blunt was just like, "What is this? This is insane. You guys are insane.
What do you guys get me into?
What did you get me into?" But she never left. She's like, "I got to see this through. I got to see what you guys are up to."
And then I thought it was odd too that when her partner Daniel
Well,
Kaluuya when he shows up and they just like let him tag along.
yeah, because there was a whole scene that the one that you mentioned earlier when they were in the meeting room, they specifically said Josh Brolin was like, "I don't want any lawyers on this team,"
Oh,
and then
never mind. That's right because she would have walked. She would have walked if he walked.
oh yeah, during that part, yeah, when because that was at the bus terminal, and but still they let him, they still sort of let him in though
Yeah.
because he was there. If they didn't let him in, he wouldn't be there, and it like they wouldn't have let him drive him around and stuff if
I know, you would think they would have got someone else to pick him up. I think they would have had that kind of worked out.
yeah.
Whatever. But I mean,
A
and
lot.
then
A lot of that
and then
stuff's nitpicky, though.
yeah, but then you have that whole ending where Del Toro comes back to talk to Emily Blunt.
Yeah.
It's like, come on.
I had a feeling that something like that was going to happen anyway.
It just, I don't know. I don't know.
I still enjoyed it
I enjoyed
a
it
lot.
too. But it wasn't anything that really got me going, got me super psyched. I
It's
just thought it was a good score. I thought Johan Johansson's score was great. I thought all the performances were great. It was really good to see Del Toro be like an insane badass again. It was fairly entertaining, kind of pretty tense. Good work from Roger Deakins. Just solid, like low key work. He was just,
yeah. Well, another little thing that they did that I thought was interesting was there was a scene involving security camera footage and how they did the panning, where they were just kind of like constantly panning and zooming on the different security cameras. I liked how they did that. I thought that looked really cool.
it's a solid movie.
It
Good
is
stuff.
it is a solid movie. I liked it quite a bit. I mean, it sounded like we were being a little harsh on it, but I liked it a lot. I don't have a lot of negativity to say about it. I mean, for some reason it just felt long to me. I don't know why, but in probably after the second act or so, during the second act, it just dragged for me a little bit.
Get a little dragon action in there.
Yeah, not too bad. Because when we came out of the theater, I was like, man, that movie was long. It was like 2.5, 3 hours long. I look at the runtime; it's 2 hours. I'm like, what? It just, I don't know. For some reason, to me, that movie felt really long. It's interesting that this came out, though, because I just finished watching Narcos on Netflix, which obviously Narcos is the Colombian cartels, but there is, and I didn't know it, well, again, I don't know if that's a spoiler. There is a tie-in to the Colombian cartels in Sicario. So I thought that was kind of an interesting tie-in, and Sicario does successfully show how fucked up shit is in Mexico.
Yeah.
Because shit is fucked in Mexico.
I can imagine. I can definitely imagine.
A lot of people were talking about like just how brutal this movie is and how violent it is, but I didn't.
I had a little trouble with it. There's a couple of things that
I thought that
the beginning,
yeah,
when the explosion happens and he has to show the guy crawling, and then the camera has to tilt down to show the detached forearm. I'm just thinking, why? Like, it's already bad enough that you have it's 25 dead bodies in the wall. Like, that's enough. Okay, I don't need to see a blown off arm.
Yeah, to me that opening scene was the most horrific out of everything. But I just saw a trailer for that what's it called? 999, the new one from John Hillcoat.
Oh, I'm sure that's a romp.
It's a Red Band trailer. You should definitely check it out. It looks like it's going to be intense. It looks really, really intense.
I can imagine.
Yeah, you should definitely watch that after we're done recording here. All right, let's go ahead and give some scores to this. I will give Sicario I'm gonna throw out a 7.5 on this one.
Oh shit! I'm gonna give it a 7.
All right, solid. Sicario is playing everywhere right now, so you can go see it in the theater, and I would recommend seeing this one in the theater. This is one that definitely looks good on the big screen, so check it out. Let's go ahead and talk about some of what we've been watching. I don't remember. I'm pretty sure I started last week. I can't remember. Sure. You can go ahead.
Sure. Let's try. I have one here. The second installment of Unsung Indies. That's the international sign for choking. I got some places they're telling me 2012, other places they're telling me 2013. It's one of those years. Just pick one. This is from Zach Weintraub, and this is really impressive. This is a really impressive movie. There's not a lot going on. I'll just throw that out there. It's just Zach, the director, plays a guy named Josh, goes to Buenos Aires he's going to work on a documentary, but he's got to find a subject first. So much of the time he's spent trying to find a subject for his documentary. He's also trying to look for a woman from his past. You don't really know who she is. He's just looking for her. He can't get a hold of her. And it's just him really trying to connect with people and, try and get away from the loneliness. And he's not that good at it. Let's just put it that way. I mean, he's slightly successful, but he makes some questionable decisions throughout. But this has the same cinematographer, Nandan Rao, who did the last Unsung Indies, Hawaiian Punch. Has kind of the same style, the off-center framing. He knows how to use the sunlight for his frames. And it's just one of those movies where it's like there's not that much going on, and it's very minimalist, but every frame is thoroughly interesting, just on aesthetics alone. So I was quite surprised by this.
Cool. And where did you see this?
I saw this on Fandor. Fandor has all the Zach Weintraubs.
Okay.
All of them. It's all in there.
So if you have a subscription to Fandor, you can check out the international sign for choking, and be sure to read Kevin's article on the site, part of our Unsung Indies series that you've been killing it. You've been writing those you've been coming out with those left and right, it seems.
Hopefully I can keep that up. Let's see what happens.
Pace yourself. You don't want to burn yourself out. I mean, maybe what you could do is, write a bunch of them and then kind of line them up, so you have
That's
them.
True.
So you have them on deck.
That's what I should do, but I'm not going to do that.
I didn't think you would. I saw a movie called Gravy that came out this weekend. This is on VOD, and I think it's in limited. Actually, it's playing at the theater by my apartment. Directed by James Roday, the guy who was in Psych. He was the main character of Psych.
Oh, okay.
And this is his directorial debut. It's a horror comedy. Big surprise. I feel like horror comedies this year, like found footage last year. There's just so many of them coming out.
They're just everywhere. They're all over.
This one didn't really work for me. It has a decent cast. It's got the one guy from Always Sunny, who is one of the creepy brothers. His name's Jimmy Simpson.
Mm-hmm.
You know who I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
He's in it, and he plays a cannibal who, along with his brother and his girlfriend, kidnap the workers of a Mexican restaurant and play stupid games with them and eat them one by one. It's really gory. It's really violent. A lot of practical effects that look fairly decent, but none of the jokes really worked for me. I didn't laugh at all, and the plot is just kind of bare bones. There's just not a whole lot going on here. All of the characters felt somewhat stereotypical, and they were all just kind of flat to me.
Yeah.
And yeah, just overall not too into this one. It felt like one of those movies that came out in the late 90s or even early 2000s during the Tarantino hype train that was coming through, where it seemed like these really dark comedies were coming out, violent comedies were coming out left and right. You had like Very Bad Things and movies like that seem to be coming out every week, and this kind of falls into that category. It just feels old to me.
Yeah.
And yeah, just didn't really work. There's a decent amount of good actors in this, good performers. Sarah Silverman's in it. I don't know why she's in it, but she kind of is in these bookend scenes that are there for some reason. The only thing I can come up with is just a reason to have Sarah Silverman in your movie. But you can read my full review up on the site for Gravy.
That sounds like something.
Yeah.
I saw it when your review went up. I was just like, what the fuck is this?
Gravy, yeah.
And I had an idea, and then I clicked on it, and I was like, yeah, that's what I thought it was.
Yep.
This is exactly what I thought it was. The only other thing I watched was I watched something else because I thought that that's what we were going to do for this week. It turns out that I was wrong, and that's what we're doing next week.
Mm-hmm.
So I got one of those knocked out already.
Good.
But I saw a short documentary. It's only like 11 minutes long. Dustin Gaidifa, the director of Bad Fever and Person to Person. He has a new documentary out, which actually showed up on... I watched it on the Intercept.com Field of Vision.
Okay.
So I don't know what this is. It's new, apparently. Field of Vision, I think, is one of the creator or co-creator is the director of Citizen 4. Oh,
okay.
Laura Poitras.
Mm-hmm.
Is that her last name, I think?
Yeah, Poitras.
So it's a short documentary. It's after Shepard Fairey, the street artist, got arrested for vandalism in Detroit. He goes there and kind of explores graffiti and street art and rebellion in Detroit. And he's a bit all over the place because he's talking to some street artists, and then I guess around the same time that this is happening, the Church of Satan is trying to get a statue put up in the city of a statue of Satan.
Statue of Satan.
the whole thing, the horned goat, and it's like a statue of Satan. I think he's sitting on a chair, and of course he has like the pentagram behind him and everything. And there's like two kids at his side that are like Yay, Satan. So he follows that for a little bit, and then he finds this other guy that he kind of interviews that I guess just got out of jail, and he's a very unique character, and he says some odd things. One of which is that Gila monsters don't have assholes, and I imagine that the first thing anyone's going to do after watching, and the name of this documentary is called God is an Artist. I imagine that every single person that watches this, the first thing they're going to do when they're done is Google if Gila monsters have assholes.
I'm sure they will.
I'm pretty sure. You might even stop it after that happens.
Pause it just to check, just to do a Google, quick Google.
Do a quick Google and then come back to it. So you can watch that for free.
Okay. And what was this site again? The Intercept?
It's theintercept.com /Field of Vision.
Huh.
It's on there.
Okay. I'll have to look into that.
Because I thought Field of Vision was the website, but then I couldn't find it. And here it's on the Intercept, and I don't know. I'm not quite sure how all this works. All I know is it's there, and I watched it.
I'll look into it. Kind of bouncing off of the whole Satan thing, I saw Deathgasm this week, which came out in limited release and on VOD, so you can check this one out. And I do recommend this one. It's another horror comedy. What? Surprise. Another horror comedy. This one actually is pretty damn funny. It's from New Zealand, and it's about these kind of outcast metalhead teenagers who they form a metal band called Deathgasm, all caps because lowercase is for pussies.
Oh.
And they find out that one of their favorite bands, the lead singer who kind of disappeared and was rumored to be in isolation somewhere, they find out that he may be living in their town. So they go and they break into his house and they find him there, and he's kind of just strung out and crazy, and they end up stealing a record from him. And they think that it's one of his records because there's this really rare one that they made, and they only made 666 copies of it, and it was really expensive. And it turns out it was a Rick Astley record. But within the sleeve, the record sleeve, there were these pages. It was sheet music, and it turned out to be, when you played this music, which of course they played, it resurrected this ancient demon, and this demon started taking over everyone in their town and kind of possessing people. It had an Evil Dead 2 vibe to it. Strong Evil Dead 2 vibe, where they get possessed. They're not really zombies because they can talk, but they look crazy, and they can, like, I'll swallow your soul, that type of thing.
Yeah.
So the kids in this metal band have to defeat the ancient evil that they have awoken. Really simple premise, but it's just a fun movie. The level of gore in this movie, they turn it up to 11. I mean, it is out of control gore. I think that they were trying to pay homage to Dead Alive, the Peter Jackson film that's notoriously gruesome and violent. Because it's really similar. There's one scene where the one guy has dual chainsaws. He's wielding dual chainsaws, and he's just helicoptering with the dual chainsaws, just chopping people everywhere. It's crazy. It's a lot of fun. It's silly, but it doesn't take itself seriously at all. One of my favorite scenes was there's a love interest in it. There's this girl that the main character goes to school with, and he kind of has a crush on her, and she kind of likes him too because he's kind of a bad boy. And he gives her a CD, and he's like, "Oh, you got to listen to this. If you're not familiar with heavy metal, you got to listen to this." And she pops it in walking home, and they do this cutaway where she's like this Viking goddess, and she's on a mountaintop, and she's screaming, and it's just really funny to see her discovery of heavy metal music be visualized in that way. But I would say, I mean, I'm not a huge metal fan, you know that, but it's still well worth looking at because it takes the tropes of heavy metal and kind of has fun with it. It doesn't make fun of heavy metal music or anything, but
Yeah.
it just kind of plays around with it, and it's a really good time. So Deathgasm, I have a full review for that up on the site too, so check that out. I saw another horror movie called The Hive. I
This
checked
is
it.
about peace.
No, it's not. I checked this out because it's presented by the Nerdist, and I think that it's their first movie that they've. I don't know if they produced it. They have something to do with it. I don't know if that if
They did something with this.
yeah, I don't know. It was produced. It was executive produced by another interesting person too, and I can't even remember. It was like an EDM musician that executive produced it. So it's this really kind of weird. I don't know how this movie got made, but anyway, it's about this kid who wakes up, and it's actually the kid from Kings of Summer, the one that has the broken leg.
Oh, okay.
So it stars him. I think is Gabriel Basso.
Yeah.
He wakes up in this room. There's black shit all over the wall. All the doors and windows are boarded up. He doesn't know who he is. He doesn't know how he got there. And there's like all these notes kind of written in chalk all over the walls. And he's got all this like black shit on his face, and he looks all busted up. And what happens is he starts to have these kind of flashbacks where he's piecing together what happened. And it turned out that there was this biological compound that it was sort of a virus that connects people's brains into a hive.
Oh shit.
And so once you're all connected, you have the ability to access other people's memories. And the problem was that the virus sort of took over the host and turned you into this sort of a zombie creature
Okay.
that
You had me going there for a while.
Yeah.
And it just
it was almost like a body snatchers type of thing where the virus uses the host to try to replicate itself and create one organism, one mind or whatever. And this one didn't work for me at all. It's super stylized. Now, this might work for some people. It looks the whole movie looks like a music video. There's lots of slow motion. There's crazy lighting. A lot of the movies done with black lights. So there's these long scenes where he uses black lights, so everything glows. Lots of just really, really just over stylized visuals in this. Some of it looks really good, I will say, but a lot of it just doesn't work for this type of movie. Just because it's like it's a low budget horror movie, and you're using really, really crazy filters and stuff to make it look like a music video, essentially. So it just didn't work for me, and it was just meh. There wasn't a lot going on here. There's black shit everywhere too, which reminded me of The Hallow. I feel like that's a trend in movies. Black shit, people vomiting black shit and squirting black shit everywhere.
yeah.
Again, it was like that Splinter movie where it's just black stuff all over the place.
People just spitting up black tar.
Yeah,
Black tarry bile.
Yep, that's what it is. There's a lot of that going on. And
Yeah.
it was kind of stupid too. Just a lot of it was just stupid and didn't work.
Well, honestly, like everything that you were saying sounded very interesting.
That's why I
And then all of a
watched it.
sudden, you got to that one point, and you even sound like you were like, "Oh, I should say this because I'm gonna kill everything."
Yeah, because I saw the trailer for this and it looked interesting. I was like, oh, okay, I want to check that out. It's kind of Memento, but a horror movie where he's got to write himself notes because he knows he's gonna forget and all this stuff. But yeah, it doesn't stick the landing.
Mm.
The only other one that I'll mention is Entourage. I finally checked this one out.
Oh yeah.
If you love Entourage, odds are you probably already saw this and loved it. If you love Entourage and you somehow missed it, you'll probably like it. For me, it was garbage. There were so many cameos in it that made no sense. They were just there for a second, like Kelsey Grammer, like, oh hell, hey Kelsey, how you doing? And it's just like, why was he in this movie? It was, oh, that's right. We're constantly reminded that these these 5 dudes know famous people, and they're friends with famous people. Wow. Mark Wahlberg's in it like 3 times. And the thing I like about Entourage is how it kind of mimics the real life story. You know, Mark Wahlberg's real life story. And then you have the Johnny Drama character, who is obviously supposed to be the older Wahlberg, Donnie? Whoever the older Wahlberg is, you know, in his younger brother's shadow. But then the interesting is they get Matt Dillon's older brother to play Johnny Drama, who is in the shadow of his younger brother. So there's all these kind of cool things about this show that I like. But the movie is just, it is a 2-hour episode of the show. There's no closure to anything. In fact, it starts new plot lines. So it feels it feels like it's part of the show. There's certain things that happen. So for instance, what's his name? Ari, his assistant in the show, who later becomes his own, I think he becomes a manager or something. In the movie, he's getting married, and he wants Ari to walk him down the aisle, and Ari offers to use his house as the place where they get married, but they never go anywhere with it. We don't see the wedding. We don't even know what happens with that. It's like, why would you start that plot thread if you're not going to follow through with it? And
Just sounds awful.
And also, half the movie just feels like a giant car commercial. It's ridiculous. I mean, it is like the definition of Hollywood excess. When you think of Hollywood excess, and I understand that maybe that's why some people like this, because they kind of like to live vicariously through these characters. But for me, it's like these guys are getting to an age where it's not cool anymore. It's just pathetic. Like, you're pathetic. You're almost 40 years old, and you're like having these parties where you call these girls over and you're doing Molly with them and having sex with all these girls. And it's like, dude, you're like almost 40 years old. You're pathetic. So Entourage, the movie, no, that did not work for me.
Would you recommend? You gonna recommend?
No, that is not a recommend. That is a hard pass on Entourage, the movie. Again, if you just love the show, like, I bet Ryan will probably like the movie.
Oh, I'm sure.
Because it is the show. If you like the show, then you'll probably like the movie. It's just better looking. Obviously, it's better looking than the show. Not by much, but for me, I just wanted more. I was somebody who kind of liked the show. I never watched all of the episodes or anything, but I've seen a number of them, and I kind of like the show. I just wanted something more with the movie, and the plot wasn't there. The whole freaking movie was about Adrian Grenier making a movie that he was directing, and basically they were trying to get more money, and Billy Bob Thornton and Haley Joel Osment were these oil baron, like, rich people that had the money, and it was just stupid. It was stupid.
Yeah, that sounds awful.
Yeah, absolutely it was. All right, let's talk about some predictions. Last week, The Martian, you said 72, I said 76. Actual 94.
Jeez.
Yeah. Since I was on vacation, I didn't get a chance to see The Martian. However, I hope to do that soon. I want to see that and The Walk. So I'm going to try to squeeze those in this week, because I've heard good things about both of them. Except for freaking Neil deGrasse Tyson spoiled The Martian on his Twitter feed, which royally pissed me off.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he just blatantly sent out a tweet that spoiled the movie.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so that was a pretty big bummer. We predicted Hell and Back. In fact, it still says October 2nd for Hell and Back. But
Are you serious?
Yeah, but that movie did not come out. And I was pretty sure that it got pushed back, but so I don't know what the status of that movie is. I've seen zero marketing for it. We got a few PR emails for it, but nothing about release dates or anything. So I don't know what's going on with that one. So I'm not going to bother reading those scores out. Well, there is no Rotten Tomatoes score. So
There's nothing. Can we just make one up and say that I nailed it?
You predicted 58 on that one, so I think it's probably going to be lower than that when it comes out.
More than likely.
I'm guessing like 26 now. Next week we have Pan.
Oh boy.
Peter Pan.
Mm,
What are you thinking on this one?
doesn't look that good.
That doesn't look good to me. And it's not Disney either, so that's another thing to keep in mind. This is not a Disney production.
I'm gonna say 48.
48? All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. I will say I'll say 52.
Ooh. All right.
And Steve Jobs. I've heard good things about this.
How many fucking Steve Jobs movies are we gonna have?
You know, I read that when the way that the film is structured, it takes place in 3 kind of pivotal moments in the life / career of Steve Jobs, and Danny Boyle used and I could be wrong on this, but I think it was 16, 32, and digital to film each of the 3 different parts.
Ooh.
So you actually use like 3 different.
Oh.
I think that's cool.
Yeah, but they're all 3 are gonna look like shit because it's Danny Boyle.
I don't understand why you think that Danny Boyle's movies look like shit all of a sudden.
Oh, I thought that for a while.
How do his movies look like shit?
We've gone listen back to the episodes.
I don't remember talking about his movies
get
looking
some-
like shit.
Get some trance. Go back to the trance podcast.
Oh, Trance. See, I didn't see that one.
But don't, because I'm sure it's not good.
I'll listen to it because I want to know exactly what you said, and I'm gonna copy it down.
No, please don't do that. Please don't use my words against me.
I think a lot of his movies look great. I think the Train Spotting and Sunshine look amazing.
You see, that's one I still haven't seen that yet. I
Sunshine?
gotta check that one. Yeah, I gotta check that out.
Yeah, you do.
I think I've said that probably like 30 times throughout my life. You, I think, every single time.
I think those are still my 2 favorites of his. Number 1 and number 2 Trains. Well, 28 Days Later too. Now that movie is one that I will admit now doesn't look great because I think that was in the very early days of digital, and it looks really weird now. It looks really shitty. But at any rate, let's see. Okay, Steve Jobs. I'm gonna say 86 on this one. I'm gonna hit high.
I'm gonna say 72.
That's a Sorkin script too, so that's gonna.
Gonna be a lot of walking and talking.
Yeah, I hope so. It seems like
Overloaded walking and talking, just walking around talking.
It seems like the type of movie that would be suited for that, though.
Yeah, just get them talking about iPhones.
Talking about those apples. Talking about those apples. All right, The Walk. What are you thinking on The Walk? Little Robert Zemeckis action.
Why does this exist?
I don't know why well, see, that's the thing. When I saw trailers and was reading about this and all this stuff, I was like, why wouldn't you just watch Man on Wire? Because that is an amazing documentary. But
Yeah.
from what everybody's saying, everybody's raving about this one. So, I don't know.
I'm gonna say 54.
All right. I'm going to say 78 on that one.
I'm not feeling it.
Personally, I'm still a little, I don't know. I'm probably going to go see that in the IMAX just because it seems like a really good IMAX movie. I'm going to see it in 3D too.
Personally, for me, it doesn't exist.
Well,
And I'll never watch it, ever.
Probably because you have an insane fear of heights.
Well, that too, yeah. I don't need to see that shit in 3D or IMAX.
I'm not a huge Zemeckis fan either, especially his like later stuff.
It's alright.
I mean, I
don't really have anything against him.
I mean, I love Who Framed Roger Rabbit. He did that, right?
Sure.
In limited release next week, we have Breaking Through. I'm not sure what that one is. Victoria. I'm interested in that one. That's the single take one. That literally is a single take. There's no like hidden cuts or anything like that.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
How do you know?
Because they said it. I mean, it's...
Well, you can't just believe them.
Obviously, but it is part of the marketing of that movie is that it is a true
So
single take.
you're trusting marketing now,
I am.
Adam.
Oh,
What
in
the
this
hell happened to you?
in this case, I am. I do believe that it is truly a single take because
Oh,
I feel like they wouldn't be touting it if it wasn't true. I mean, we'll have to see. We'll have to see what
we'll see.
happens, and
We'll see.
you can be a naysayer and say, oh, well, there was that one part when she looked away and they moved the camera, and that was clearly a cut. But I don't know. I'm gonna believe it until I see otherwise.
All right, you're a very trusting man.
It looks good either way. Well, apparently there are flubs and things in it that they kept in. So
Okay. All right.
I don't know. We'll see. I'm interested. We also have The Final Girls. I recommend that one. Knock Knock. Do not recommend that one. That's the Eli Roth one that I kind of railed on several times already on this show. Yakuza Apocalypse. Excuse me. That's the Takeshi Miike one that we're going to be talking about next week on our special Japan episode. Little spoiler for next week. We're going to be doing
Japanese.
we're going to be doing three brand new Japanese films, and I am really excited about that.
Getting jazzed up.
Yeah, so I guess I'll just, since we're talking about it, we're going to do Yakuza Apocalypse, we're going to do Tokyo Tribe, and we're going to do Assassination Classroom. So
I watched Assassination Classroom.
no, don't say a word about it because I have not watched it yet.
I just want to point out that it felt really awful watching that because I watched it the day of that Oregon shooting.
Oh God.
So it just did not,
Mm.
and I didn't really think about it until I was like kind of into it, and I was just like, oh jeez, it's like this is unfortunate.
I watched the first few minutes of it just to check the quality of the screener, and well, we'll get into it. There was within the first 5 minutes, I was already laughing because there's some really funny stuff there at the beginning. All right, where are we at here? Gravy comes out in limited release. Okay, so that's actually playing here in New York now, so maybe it expands a little bit next week. And Terror, that documentary. That documentary's been having some issues getting out to people. They started up a crowdfunding campaign. I don't know if it was Indiegogo or Kickstarter, but they're running into some legal problems because of the content within that movie, and they have to like pay all these legal fees and hire all these lawyers and stuff just to try to get the movie out there.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, because it's a really, really interesting movie too. But I think that it's finally going to see the light of day, so that'll be good. Next week on Video on Demand, we have Manson Family Vacation. I recommend that one. That's a really interesting comedy with Jay Duplass and Linus Phillips. Children of the Night. That's the one I mentioned last week about the child vampire school in Spain or Mexico. I can't remember. I haven't seen the movie, so I'm not sure.
I just like the way you stated that. It sounded like it was a documentary.
Yeah.
Like it's a real thing.
Sure, it is. Sure, it's absolutely real. I Spit on Your Grave 3 because we needed that in our lives. Breaking Through, The Final Girls, and Knock Knock. So, The Final Girls, I definitely recommend on that list. Manson Family Vacation, I also recommend checking that out. The rest of them, probably skip. Children of the Night looks interesting, but the quality looks very poor on that, so it looks extremely low budget to me.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think Artsploitation is putting that one out, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm kind of digging on the stuff that they've been doing in their. They've only been around for like a year or so they're doing some cool stuff.
All right.
DVD and Blu-ray. I don't have my Blu-ray list up right now, so Kevin, why don't you talk about the criterions?
We have one criterion. Hopefully that'll give you enough time. And we have Gus Van Sant's 1991 My Own Private Idaho.
Now,
Coming out on the old Blu-ray.
Have you seen that one?
I tried to watch it once, and I couldn't do it.
I
just couldn't get through it.
Yeah, I have not seen that one, so
I'll give it another shot.
Yeah.
Try.
Is that Who's
River
it?
Phoenix, Keanu Reeves.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. On Blu-ray, Insidious Chapter 3. I have not seen that, but I heard not great things. So, not sure if I can recommend that one. We Are Still Here. That's a horror movie that I do recommend. That's a really, really interesting one with Barbara Crampton. Highly recommend that one, actually. That'll probably go on my top 10 horror movies this year.
Ooh.
Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl. I heard good things about that. I haven't seen it yet. Tremors 5. Tremors 5 is coming out.
I didn't know there was a 4.
Yeah, there is a 4 and a 3 and a 2. I remember part two was the one where they grew legs and could walk around, which basically defeated the purpose of the Tremors.
Yeah, I think I'd stopped after 2.
Same here. But
I think I still enjoyed 2 to an extent.
I didn't like 2 at all. I remember that. I remember being like, what is this? This is so terrible. And then 3, I think, is called Tremors 3 Back to Perfection, which is just... I never saw that one. And then part 4 is the one that takes place in the Wild West. It's like a Western. And I think, like, no, maybe that's not it.
What?
Like, there's a Western with Chris Kattan in it, and I was thinking maybe it was Tremors 4. But I'm not sure if that was it. There was a zombie movie that took place in the West that I think maybe had Chris Kattan in it.
We gotta find out what that is.
Either way, I recently was at a website and an ad for Tremors 5 popped up on one of their video players. So I saw part of the trailer and it looks absolutely terrible. We also have Magic Mike XXL. There's a really interesting Home Alone 25th anniversary edition that comes in a paint bucket.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. Gravy comes out. Air, which is that one with Norman Reedus that I didn't like.
I feel as though you've mentioned Gravy like 37 times.
I did because I saw it this week, and then it comes out on all the other things this week also.
Oh my goodness.
Manglehorn comes out.
Manglehorn.
You were a big fan of that one, weren't you?
Get his horns mangled. It was alright.
That's what I said. I think you loved it. I thought it was alright, and you loved it. You fucking loved Manglehorn.
I love how you remember things.
I remember you liked it more than me. I know that.
I liked all the odd stuff, and wish they did more of that.
Watermelon Crash.
Yeah, I think we spent like 37 minutes talking about Watermelon Car Crash.
It's the best scene in the movie.
Hell yeah.
The Final Girl comes out, the one that's absolutely awful with Abigail Breslin. She's on that new show, Scream Queens, on Fox, and oh god, that show is awful. Awful show. Yes, cannot recommend that one. Alleluia comes out. We were both a little meh.
They're singing in it. Just know that. Just know that going in. It's just out of nowhere, someone's gonna sing to you. So you've been warned.
Yeah. Let's see. That's pretty much it. There's a bunch of Christmas stuff starting to come out, so
fuck that.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah, not there's a horror movie called Last Shift that has a pretty creepy looking cover, but I bet it's pretty bad. Oh, Going Clear, the Scientology documentary from Alex Gibney's coming out. On Blue. Baby Blue. Sharknado 3, oh hell no.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, Dark Places, too, comes out.
Okay.
Lots of stuff.
There's so many things.
When Marnie Was There comes out, too.
Oh, my God.
Studio Ghibli.
Are you done? Or
I'm done.
Like 40 other movies?
I'm officially done now.
Is Gravy coming out?
I think Gravy's coming out, too.
Okay.
Yeah. I think Gravy, and then also Gravy.
Ooh, twofer. Double bill Gravy with Gravy.
Do you remember there's a movie that I talked about, it was a while ago now, but it was called Crazy Bitches, and I wrote a review, and it was like one of the worst movies I've seen this year. I got an email from a publicist today saying that they're kickstarting the sequel called Crazier Bitches. I was like, what?
So they don't remember.
I can't imagine that's gonna. work out for them. The movie's so bad. But anyway, I digress. I think that's going to do it for this week. Thank you so much for being with us, whether you're watching on the live stream, on the replay, if you're listening. Thank you so much. We appreciate that. Send us your questions and topics to podcast@filmpulse.net. You can follow us on Twitter @FilmPulseNet or @FilmPulseKevin. And take a minute to look at our Patreon page, patreon.com/FilmPulse, and consider helping Film Pulse stay running. All right, that's going to do it for Kevin Rakestraw. My name's Adam Patterson. We'll see you on Thursday for Ryan Watches a Movie.
kind of stumbled down.
I stumbled off there because there were like two things in my head that were conflicting, and I wasn't sure where I was going to go with it, so I ended up stumbling.
Did you do the old? You just kind of morphed them together.
Well, I started to, but then I realized that it wasn't making any sense, so I had to stop and then recalculate.
I gotcha.
My GPS took a wrong turn. I had to recalculate that. So
I gotcha.